Hey guys, what's up? It's MatchPoint here, and in today's video, I'm going to be giving you 5 tips and tricks for solo queuing in Rainbow Six Siege. With the new season starting, Operation Void Edge, many of you will be solo queuing, so I've got some tips and tricks to guide you along the way. So if you do find this video useful, consider dropping a like on the video, and if there are any topics that you would like me to cover next, or if you do have a specific topic that you are struggling with and would like me to cover it, well, make sure you comment it down below so I know to do them. If you are new around here, welcome, and I hope you enjoy the video. So let's get right on into it. So the first tip that I'm going to be getting into is going to be deciding your permanent role. Now the two really main options that you do have when solo queuing are to go support or be that fragging operator. Now if you're not too sure on what these terms are, then I have covered a full video explaining all of the operator roles in Rainbow Six Siege, and there will be a card in the top right for that information if you do require it. Now the main thing here is that you need to be deciding what role you're going to be playing. Are you going to be full support or full fragging? Now once you've decided this role for that round, you can't fluctuate between the two. That means if you're going to be picking a fragging role, you can't then go and change to a support role midway through the game. While it may suit some situations, it isn't going to be effective. You need to make sure that you're sticking with one role and you're playing it to its full potential. That way, if you decide to commit to it and stick to it, you will be succeeding. For example, if you're deciding your entry point or where you're going to be coming in from the building and making your push through. Now, if you decide to be in a certain position where you know that you can either get a good advantage on the team and pick up some kills for you and your team, then you don't want to be changing to a support role because you might need it. It's not going to fit this entry point and it's going to obstruct your plan. Therefore, sticking to one desired role is going to be a lot more effective, as you're able to stick to its game plan and fulfill it to the max. Now in regards to picking this role, and you might be struggling on which one you should go for, well, it's mainly going to come down to your strongest option. Whichever one you feel confident in and that you can fulfill it to its potential, I would recommend going for. However, you do need to think about the situation and take into account various variables that are going to affect you, and we will be discussing this in further tips later on into the video, so make sure you stick around so you don't miss it. There will be a lot of key information discussed around it, but the main starting point for now is going to be deciding which one you're more confident in and which one you feel you can thrive in more than the other. The second tip that we're going to be moving on to is learning a wide variety of operators for solo queuing. Now there are quite a few operators that are more desirable than others for solo queuing, as their ability or overall role will suit it better. And the reason why I'm suggesting you to learn a wide variety of operators is that you don't know what the situation is going to be. You don't know what your team could require or the certain strategy the opposition are playing. As if they are playing a strategy, then you will need to go ahead and counter it, and you might have the operator to do that. Not sticking to one certain operator and branching out into others can be very useful in terms of the whole game, but not only this for solo queuing as well. Like I mentioned before, the situation is unknowing. For example, if the random teammates that you're paired up with do use the voice chat, and you are going to be playing that support role for you and your team, because quite frankly, you're going to be trying to coordinate as a team together. You might not have that support operator that they're wanting you to play because you haven't learnt it yet, which is why branching out into different operators can be crucial. It may be more beneficial if you do start with those operators who are more accustomed to solo queuing and then branch out further on once you've learnt them. This can be a great technique. Now my advice for learning these new operators that you're going to be trying out is simply going to be coming down to experience, as that will beat most things. However, I do have many operator videos on this channel which you can check out to get you up to speed on all of the information that you need to know. These videos will discuss everything from their ability to their loadout, their desired role and much more, including hidden tips and tricks. And I do have a playlist with a collection of them in. Now the third tip is going to be referring back to the very first tip that I did mention about that situation and what you're going to be picking as your operator. And it's going to be picking your operator based off your teammates. In some scenarios, I would advise you to pick your operator last after everyone on your team. And whilst you're waiting for them to pick, you should be looking at their operator choices and weighing up the game plan that you're going to be taking, including think about the defense strategy that the other team could be playing, and also taking a look at the utility that your team is bringing with you. This way you'll have further information on what role you should be playing here, as you can see what your teammates are going to be playing based off their operator choices and the utility that they're bringing. If your team is going to be playing more aggressive, then I would highly recommend you to play that support role, so you can cover their backs and ultimately watch out for you and your team. However, this will completely depend on the situation, including the team that you're going to be facing, their previous strategies that they've used in the round, and your team's previous strategies. You're going to have to infer all of the little details that you can to get that knowledge and make your choice. In addition to this, utility choices are extremely important as well. If you do notice that your team aren't bringing something that needs to be required, for example if you're playing on defense and none of your teammates have brought impact grenades, then I would recommend you to do this, as you can help your team out. Due to rotation holes being a necessity, the same will apply for attack, looking at your team's loadout and making a choice on which utility you should be bringing. Now the second to last tip is going to be communication is always useful. While communication in solo queuing is a rarity, it's always going to be helpful to your team. Now you may not think this, as it can be demoralizing when someone in your team doesn't respond or you have no communication going on at all, but actually there's always going to be someone on the other end listening, and this will be true for most situations. Whether you're simply pinging a spot for a rotation hole to go or you're using voice chat, that communication can be very useful. Now one of the main reasons as to why there is very little communication when solo queuing is because you're talking to people who you don't know, and many people are afraid of actually giving those call outs. However, in 9 times out of 10, most players would actually prefer to have those call outs than not have them at all. It's going to be more beneficial to the team, and overall it's going to help you win that round. And when you start giving those precise and clear call outs, maybe others will join in too because you've started it. Try not to be afraid of giving a call out, as if I was in that situation, I would much rather have someone who is communicating and coordinating effectively than to have nothing at all. Now a highly important skill is giving those precise and short call outs. As for starters, nobody wants to hear the basic call out of over there or over here. They want to be given that short information with the details. An example of a short call out and precise call out would be Ash in CCTV. Not only is this an extremely short call out, it is also giving you 2 very important details right there. You've gone and stated the operator that is going to be pushing through and the room that they're going to be making their push through. And there is actually a lot of information that a Siege player can infer from this. They've stated the operator Ash, which might suggest they're going to be playing more aggressive on that entry fragging role. And depending on what site you're playing with that CCTV information, it could mean they're going to be pushing from below, or simply they're going to try and plant onto that B site very early. As well as this, practicing your communication in solo queue games can be great for when you do find that team. If you are looking for any more information on communication tips, then there is a guide that I've covered a full one in detail, and there will be a card in the top right if you do require it. Now the 5th and final tip of this video is going to be struggling under pressure. Many players in Siege will fall under the pressure in those high tense situations, especially in solo queue games. And the main reason being is because they've got no one there that they know in order to support them. Now experience is going to be the main thing here when it does come down to this, as the more of these situations that you've been in, the easier you'll find it to handle them. However, it can be very daunting, which is why I'm going to help you to get over this. Now, like I mentioned before, experience is the key here. However, there are many things that you can use to counter this and also to practice it and gain more experience. And the first one is going to be a way to practice it, which is recommended through T-Hunt. In T-Hunt, you start off with 21 enemies, which can be very daunting, as it means you're going to be having multiple enemies coming from different sides and approaching you. Now this is great for practicing a high pressure situation, as you're going to be needing to take multiple of them out at the same time. However, for those high tense situations in that game, it is going to be coming down to your mindset. You're going to be requiring that confidence that you need to go ahead and clutch that round. In order to do this, you need to believe in yourself. Take the gunfights methodically and approach them in 1v1 situations, and almost walk yourself through it. It might be a good idea to go ahead and repeat what you're doing in your head, thinking, saying, I'm going to be travelling down these stairs now, so I can come up behind and flank them. This is a method, and it's not going to be the same for everyone. It's going to require multiple approaches to this situation. However, whatever helps you may work. Music may be your thing to avoid this pressure and counteract it, as it might relax you in order for you to perform. Whichever one of these methods works best for you, make sure to practice it and try it out, and then you'll be able to overcome it with time. Those are the 5 solo queue tips that will be helping you along your journey. And that's going to be it for today's video, guys. However, if you would like to learn all the details on the operator Vigil in Rainbow Six Siege, then make sure to go ahead and check out my recent video. If you did enjoy this video or you found it useful, then make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe for more tips and tricks like this. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.